Welcome everybody to Accelerate Your Linux Migration with Azure and Red Hat. I'm Nate Lager. I'm a Senior Technical Marketing Manager with Red Hat Enterprise Linux. I'll be joined later in today's presentation by Pete Cruz and Courtney Grosch to talk about the Ansible and OpenShift products. But first, let's get started. First, we're going to talk a little bit about where we are today in the state of just sort of IT and the cloud. This is a statistic from a 2022 survey called State of the Cloud from Flexera. This data shows us that 63% of organizations were running 25% of their workloads on the cloud at the time of the survey. I'd be surprised if that number hasn't increased since then. We've seen from customers and partners and analysts is that companies are running workloads on both public and private clouds. But they're continuing to run on premises, and they're embracing a hybrid cloud strategy. In this recent survey conducted, approximately 58% of respondents are actively involved in hybrid cloud strategy, meaning that they're running things on premises and in a public cloud, and maybe even across multiple different public clouds. This trend is definitely not slowing down. As you can see, when we ask them what their two-year plan is, that number grows to 60%. We're also seeing teams deploying net new applications in the public cloud, not just migrating existing applications applications and data into the public cloud. As you can see from our research, the number of respondents deploying net new in the public cloud is increasing by almost 10% in the next couple of years. What we hear time and time again is that standardizing on Linux, or even standardizing on an operating system, is giving organizations a consistent foundation for migrating their workloads wherever they choose to deploy. Whether that be on premises or in the cloud, it allows them to approach things in a standardized and repeatable way that helps remove complexity in their environments. And a little bit about RHEL on Azure. We've been on Azure since 2015, and that has only grown since then. Microsoft has been a terrific partner to work with. We'll talk a little bit more about that portfolio. So from RHEL operating system, which is built for mission-critical workloads like SAP HANA, SQL Server, and the ability to develop Java on top of JBoss, the ability to simplify your automation with things like Ansible and Automation Platform, and of course, cloud-native applications through Azure and OpenShift. Azure is the only cloud to offer Ansible, OpenShift, and JBoss as managed services billed through your Azure account. And that translates to a lower administrative burden and a simplified procurement and billing experience. So, of course, I'm the RHEL guy. I'm going to talk to you about RHEL. So let's get into some details about Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Red Hat Enterprise Linux is specifically designed to be a common platform for your workloads. Whatever infrastructure you're running on, RHEL is RHEL, and you can expect the same reliability, securability, and manageability from it, no matter where you run it. And a RHEL subscription isn't just a Linux kernel. It also includes things like service and support, and its security fixes, and of course, the hardware ecosystem that goes around all of that. These are the things that everyone has come to just sort of expect from RHEL. But also on top of that, we include proactive analytics through insights, adding diagnostics and coaching, along with vulnerability management and malware detection, even compliance and resource optimization to help make sure that you're running on the right instance types on your cloud providers. 80% of enterprises cite that a lack of resources or expertise they cite those as a top cloud challenge. With Red Hat Enterprise Linux on Microsoft Azure, you're backed by Red Hat's award-winning support organization in coordination with Microsoft's support teams. Red Hat and Microsoft work together to provide expertise, knowledge, and support to ensure that you can successfully accomplish your goals. And let's not forget about that 10-year life cycle. From the day a major release of RHEL is released, you get 10 years of full support on that release. And then if you're still on that release at the end of that 10 years, we offer extensions called extended lifecycle support. You may have heard about this thing called CentOS Linux, and you may have heard about some lifecycle changes that came around the CentOS project. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today as well. The CentOS Governing Board announced a few years ago that they're changing their focus from CentOS Linux, which was a traditional Linux distribution, to CentOS Stream, which is more of a rolling distribution. CentOS Stream is the next minor release of RHEL. It's basically, this is where the development and the hardening happens from the Fedora community, becomes CentOS Stream then becomes RHEL. So you can expect that the software that's in CentOS Stream has already been created in a more enterprise-ready and stable form. But of course, it's significantly more stable than what you would be getting from the upstream Fedora. Some important dates to think about. One is that there will not be a CentOS Linux 9. So if you're waiting for that, sorry to tell you, not going to exist. CentOS Linux 8, which was early in its adoption phase when this announcement happened, ended support or ended releases on December 31st of 2021. And updates for CentOS Linux 7, which was widely deployed at the time that this announcement happened, are going to continue until June 30th of 2024. And that's where most users are today. Now, you might also notice on this slide that Red Hat Enterprise Linux 7 has a coterminous date with CentOS Linux 7. That's going to be important in the very next slides. I also want to talk a little bit about a tool called Convert to RHEL. Now, Convert to RHEL is a tool that will let you take a RHEL-like system, in this case, CentOS Linux, Oracle Linux, and there's a handful of other distributions that are derived from RHEL, and convert them to RHEL because they're that close, right? You can literally run this tool and it takes your CentOS Linux 7 system and turns it into a RHEL 7 system, right? So that's important for this next offering that we have. This is called the Red Hat Enterprise Linux for third-party Linux migration. And what this sort of package or bundle is it's the Convert to RHEL tool. We give you the ability to get that tool, put it on your CentOS Linux 7 system, and then you can run a migration script which will convert it to a RHEL 7 system. Now, the actual process is all supported. And of course, once you're on RHEL, you're supported under the same lifecycle that RHEL is supported under. But as I mentioned earlier, that lifecycle has RHEL 7 going end of support just next year, the same date that CentOS Linux 7 was. So what does that really buy you? Well, it buys you the ability to get that 4 years of extended lifecycle support, which is also bundled. So these items can all be purchased in a more cost-effective way than if you were just deploying everything from scratch. So you don't have to move from CentOS 7 to RHEL 7 and then immediately upgrade to RHEL 8. However, we do have in-place upgrade tools that'll help you get that done. All right, and one more topic I wanted to touch on before we moved on to the full automation suite that Pete's going to talk about is built-in automation with RHEL on RHEL system roles. Now, RHEL system roles are basically Ansible roles that are made to help you with repeatable tasks commonly associated with new systems, right? So I'm deploying a whole bunch of new systems. I need to be able to do the same thing across a bunch of systems. The RHEL system roles is a package of roles that will help you make that repeatable across your new deployments or existing deployments for that matter. So, for example, if you wanted to deploy, I don't know, disk encryption, or if you wanted to set up your system-wide crypto policy, you can do that with system roles across the board. And for more on automation, we're going to go over to Pete.
Thank you, Nate. That was a great segue into our next topic and how Ansible Automation Platform can help our customers accelerate their migration to Azure. First, I'd like to touch on cloud automation and what a lot of people think is just the deployment and the retirement of resources. When we talk with our customers, cloud automation is a lot more than that. It's about orchestrating resources, being able to operationalize and drive cloud operations and connectivity and orchestration across those, and then governance to be able to ensure that what you're doing in the cloud is consistent, repeatable, and on track. We're going to focus this conversation on cloud migration, but I wanted to provide this picture to everyone to understand that cloud automation is just a lot more than just spinning up VMs in the cloud and deleting them when you don't need them anymore. When I talk about Ansible Automation Platform, for our customers, the value they get out of it is really speed, the ability to reduce the number of manual things that are happening in the environment so they can do more in a faster amount of time to remove the backlog of projects and initiatives that you have and actually drive to more efficient efficiency by being able to standardize and codify what you're doing in automation to drive out that human error and build consistency into your practice and into your initiatives so that it's repeatable, scalable, and reliable in your environment on a tool that leverages a common language across your domains. When I talk about domains, I'm talking about infrastructure domain. I'm talking about networking and security, cloud native applications, edge if you're leveraging that, and your public cloud environment like Azure. And the power of Ansible is not just that we have capabilities and partnerships and certified content for all of these different domains within, but it's being able to orchestrate across those, because when we deploy application to deploy services in the cloud, they need broader connectivity to that broader IT ecosystem. And that's the power of Ansible Automation Platform as a consistent and common language across all of these environments that's powerful and can support your cloud initiatives across the entire ecosystem. Now, from a migration perspective, our customers are typically, and yourselves are probably migrating on premises to the public cloud, to Azure. Maybe you're moving from one cloud as your business needs change or the services that you require to another cloud like Azure, or you're moving from traditional compute architectures to a cloud native approach. And Courtney will talk a lot about OpenShift in a few minutes to discuss that one. So when we look at each one of these types of migrations, Ansible is there to help your organization drive that through, regardless of where you are in a maturity level. Whether it's at the beginning of just being able to do classic backup and restore, to be able to scan your environment and recreate that environment in whole, or building out an infrastructure as code approach where we can then push that migration and then orchestrate and update systems of records within your environment. So Ansible is there to provide capabilities and integrations, both from a RHEL perspective, like Ned talked about, as well as OpenShift in the cloud native world, where Ansible plays a key role in orchestrating and helping to automate across building those container images, composing the architectures around that environment, and then orchestrating, in the cloud or across cloud environments or across cloud regions, basically ultimately allowing you just to connect to the services that you're deploying in your cloud environment or in Azure. And with Ansible, you're able to acquire Ansible through the Azure Marketplace as a managed application. And our goal here in driving Ansible through that marketplace is to help you, the customer, get straight to some zero to automation in a matter of minutes, to be able to destroy straight from the marketplace portal and start managing your Azure environment and your broader ecosystem as quickly as possible. With that managed application, we're able to support you directly. It runs in your cloud. It's fully integrated, optimized, and installed. It's fully supported by Red Hat in concert with Microsoft SRE team. So our SREs work with the Microsoft SREs to help support the infrastructure in your Azure cloud, as well as do the care and feeding of the Ansible Automation Platform for you as a managed set of services. It's integrated into the Microsoft Azure billing, so you get one bill from Azure, and for Ansible and the infrastructure, and it counts towards your committed spend agreements. And not only is it just Ansible for the Azure environment, it's the full Ansible Automation Platform subscription and what you get with the value of that subscription. So you can automate your cloud environment, you can automate your private cloud environment, your data center. If you're leveraging Arc, you can tie in and use Ansible to help automate system resources through Arc. You can do network and security use cases, IT service management, service workflow, and monitoring and analytics. So again, it's the full power of the full Ansible Automation Platform available to you through the Azure Marketplace as a managed application, as a differentiated level of service for your organization. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Courtney to talk about Azure Red Hat OpenShift.
All right, well, thank you, Pete. And everyone, now that we've heard about RHEL and Ansible, let's go to our third product offering with Azure, which is Azure Red Hat OpenShift, also known as Arrow. So we know that there's a lot of complexities when you're trying to manage your hybrid cloud environment, and you may have limited resources as an organization that are hindering your ability to quickly build and modernize your applications. And that's where Arrow comes in. So Azure Red Hat OpenShift is going to be the Azure native turnkey application platform that allows customers to quickly and easily build and deploy clusters on demand, monitored and operated jointly by Microsoft and Red Hat with an integrated support experience. At the core of Arrow is Red Hat OpenShift, which is going to play that key part in providing a trusted Kubernetes platform where we add productive features such as IDE, runtimes, build pipelines, monitoring, security and service mesh, and more to deliver the complete application platform with all of the components that you need that are fully integrated to build, deploy, and manage your containerized applications. And you can see here on the screen that there's several benefits to Arrow. First, since it is a managed offering, you're not going to have to focus on managing the infrastructure, so it allows your teams to focus on other innovative projects. You're also going to be able to accelerate time to value because of the developer tools and services that are offered by Azure and Red Hat. Also, due to being able to deliver a consistent experience on-prem and in the cloud, it's going to allow for that hybrid cloud flexibility. So when we say a joint application platform, what exactly does that mean? So first, you're going to get those integrated development tools between Azure and OpenShift, and we'll show what that means here in a little bit. You're going to get a single invoice between Microsoft and Red Hat, and you're also going to be able to use your Microsoft Azure consumption commitment spend. Arrow is deployed from the Azure portal, and we also do have a focus on security. We know that's very important to you as a customer, and our dual teams are continuously monitoring for CVEs and will identify updates and fixes before they become an issue. And of course, Arrow users are able to benefit from the huge range of compliance offerings that are offered with Azure. And finally, and most importantly, you're going to get joint support and engineering from both Microsoft and Red Hat. What that means for you as a customer is that you'll be able to submit one ticket between the two companies, and this is going to lead to a faster resolution if any issues arise. All right, so when you're having to spend more time on the complexities of managing your own Kubernetes, which is shown here in this diagram, you're not focusing on those innovative projects for your business. So in this diagram, what we're showing is everything that is involved in running your own Red Hat OpenShift cluster as self-managed. However, you can see here that with Arrow, it is a much more simplified process. And you can also see on the screen what Microsoft and Red Hat are each managing for you. And then we also just wanted to show you a high-level overview of some of the tools that you're able to use for developers. And there's plenty more of these, but these are just some of the most popular ones that work seamlessly with Arrow. So now that we have an understanding of Azure, Red Hat, OpenShift, Ansible, and Rail, I want to go more into the partnership between Red Hat and Microsoft. So here on the screen, you can see that there's a lot of large customers that are working with both Red Hat and Azure. Our customers have chosen to partner with us because they know that they can have their transition to the cloud given the proven track record that both of these companies have together. Beyond that, you can know that you're working with two of the best companies in this space. You're going to be able to maximize your return on investment. You're going to know that both companies care about the performance as well as resiliency of the products that your organization is using. Again, we're continuously focusing on security because we know how important that is. And both corporations together are working on initiatives to manage your AI workloads. And if that's not enough, if you have any Red Hat hybrid committed spend or any of your Microsoft Azure consumption commitment that you're still needing to use or want to use, you're able to use it with Rail, Ansible, and Arrow. So with that, while there's much more we could talk about today, please make sure to visit our landing page to learn more about all of our products. And also, please make sure to learn about our new offering from migrating Prim CentOS to Rail. And with that, we hope to see you at Ignite.